You are now listening to the Mill Social Talks podcast, hosted by Leroy Villamil, Chicago's best and finest when it comes to real estate. Find your forever home with Mills Realty.
Hi guys, thanks again for tuning in. This is Leroy Villamil at Mills Realty, designated broker, and you are listening to Mills Social Talk podcast. Thank you for listening again, and we hope for you to continue listening continuously. Today we have on the show, we have a really good show today. It is going to be about financial education. It's going to be about trading. It's going to be about cryptocurrency. And it's going to be brought to us by Trevor John-Charles from Level Up Consulting. But before we get to that, I want to let you guys know I've known Trevor for a while, and he first came into my office looking for a property to rent. Is that correct? Were you renting or were you buying? Or you not sure?
We were buying.
No. I guess I met you at.
It was an educational
yeah.
piece, yeah.
So we met over at the bank, and. You know, Trevor's a good story. I want to tell the story because he wasn't sure if he was going to buy. Was that correct?
We weren't looking.
That's right.
We weren't looking. We were invited by Dr. Dion Lopez to come and check it out. And at the time, we lived in the neighborhood, so it was a Saturday morning. So we came out initially to really just support.
To support, right? So. And that's why I came. Yeah. So, but I like the story because you didn't, and you're like many other people, Trevor. Sometimes you don't know you're ready until you meet the right people. Then you realize, hey, I can do this.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's part of our Trevor's story. Trevor came out to support Dr. Dion Lopez.
Yeah.
Just to say, we'll see what happens.
We're here.
You asked us to come. We're here. But I think after we went through our process, you became like, this is a possibility. We can do this. So you became intrigued. Is that what happened?
It was, and ironically, it ties into the conversation we're going to have, because my wife and I, we always, when we talk about financial education, I was talking to her for quite some time about buying a multi-unit building. Yeah. She was all about getting a condo. I want a condo. And I'm like, there's no money in a condo. There's no immediate cash flow. There's no immediate benefit from it. And it wasn't until we started playing cash flow and reading and things of that nature that I kind of, got her buying into the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. But it was so cool because I remember that Saturday morning we were sitting down and you were like, and I could see your intense look. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Lopez was like, okay, and we were all talking, and I could just see, I could have seen that I had your interest. Mm-hmm. I could see that, and so we talked, and Trevor came in, but the reason why I like this story is because there's a lot of us that don't know what we can do, and so we have a lot of folks basically renting and paying whether it's $1,000 or people pay $1,800 a month, and they don't realize that they can pay less in basically just buying a home or a two-flat as we did, and just and be more comfortable in their own home, getting all the tax break and all the things that go with home. So this is a story that I really like to stress because there's too many of us renting that does not need to be rent, and it's. I spoke to a lady today. She's been in her job for 30 years. 30 years, making 5 G's a month at the post office. And she's like, well, I need to rent. I'm like, what? You're going to say, we're going to rent? And so I spoke with her today. I say, you want to do that? It's like, well, yeah, me and my son's going to rent. No, her son has a job. And she has a fabulous job. She works at the post office. She's a supervisor. And she's going to rent. So me and her had this conversation today. And finally, she agreed, let's continue to talk. So this is not something new to me. It's something that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just because of the business I'm in. and I find people who are like just want to rent, but it happens.
But
So
can I interject and ask?
Yeah.
Do you think that it plays into the fact that
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no worries. Do you think it plays into the fact that there's not enough conversations about not only the benefits of home ownership, but creating wealth?
Well, absolutely. Not everybody understands wealth building, and you got to remember. So, if you haven't come from so let me say this: if you haven't come from a family that has anything to do with entrepreneurship, sometimes you have no idea. You just realize, and if you haven't come from a family that actually owns a home, it's just that's what you do. You don't know what it is, and if no one tells you about, if you're not open to that idea, you basically rent all your life. I've taken many people out of homes that have been here for 30 years. Just rent. They could have done bought the home, but they rent and rent and rent. It's like, how long you been here? Oh, 26 years, 30 years.
Wow.
And I walk in like, and why haven't you moved? Why haven't you bought your own place? Well, I can't buy it. But it's like, over my career, many people I have seen. Like I really like your story because you didn't come to buy, right? You came to support. But as you were having a conversation with your wife, you realized, hey, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we start looking, and we got to a point where you actually bought and sold, and you did well, right? So I really love your story and that's why I want you, because I want to tell your story because you did not come to buy.
Yeah.
You came to look, right?
Agreed. Agreed. Those are the best people.
yeah, exactly. But you and your wife was really kind of open to the idea, and I think that's a wonderful thing. I always like your story. You're one of the stories. When I write a book, I'll put it in there.
I'm looking for royalties. I'll make sure my people talk to your people so we can work that out.
Yeah, and that could happen. That could happen, but it's a story of what and as what you do. Tell me a little about what you're doing in trying to help other people to gain wealth. Because I'm sure that when your folks get wealth, they will try to, I'm sure they'll be buying real estate. Right. And even more real estate, because Absolutely. The wealth is, most of us build our wealth through real estate.
Right. Well, when you make money, right, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, you can either give the money back to the IRS.
Well, true.
Or you can buy real estate.
Yeah. Which do you want to do? Right.
Right. So I'd rather buy real estate.
Right.
But Level Up Consulting LLC started in 2019. Initially, it was in a different format than it is today. We started as a customer service training business, and it was a gentleman and his partner that we met, and he met me while I was working in the hospitality industry at the time, and he liked the service that I gave and how I delivered it. He liked the professionalism. And they wanted me to train their staff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they wanted me to train their staff. And Shari's background is also in hospitality, and at the time she was a training manager for her company. Okay. So we both have a background in the hospitality, and we've been in it. Yeah. I would say probably combined, we got 40 years combined. Experience in the industry. So I didn't know if they wanted to hire me as an employee and teach. So we went home. I went home and told her about it. I introduced her to the couple, and we end up just creating a business from it.
Okay, that's how it comes up,
right?
From a need.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So the company, when we first created it, because we didn't have an LLC, but just to kind of give it a name, initially it was TNS Consulting, which is Trevor and Shari Consulting. Yeah. A year later, after we started training their staff and what have you, we said let's.
So did they hire both of you guys?
Yes, they hired both of us.
To train their staff.
So we created it where, because it was done in a group setting, but because we made it educational, because we made, we broke up into groups. If you hired one person, we could only do one up to 10 people. If you had a group of 10 or more, then we would have to have hired or brought someone in for that 10 or more. So just pay 2 of us.
Exactly.
So that's that's the beautiful thing about business, is that you could create it to your client's need, but at the same time you could scale it, the way it needs to be as a business. Whereas, when you're on the job, right, you're the deal. If they hire you to do it, you can make the recommendation. We need somebody else because there's too many people, and the boss is going to be like, nope, you're the deal. You make it happen. So we created this educational series, and we would teach them on how to deliver customer service. So when the pandemic hit, that went away. Because
they went away. Yeah, especially the service industry.
And I was personally hit as well.
Yeah, it was hit the hardest.
Yeah.
But out of that,
I was introduced to trading.
Okay.
By a good friend of mine, Simon Pipkin. I gotta give Simon.
I
gotta give Simon a shout out. That's my guy. He's also the best man in our wedding.
Oh,
yeah. And ironically, he had been pulling my coattails 2 years prior to taking a look at what he was doing, and I was hesitant.
That's okay. Sometimes you're just not ready.
You know what? I wasn't ready. 1, because I was planning the wedding, and 2, I was busy. But 3, I thought it was another one of those deals.
Okay.
To be honest, and I wasn't interested. I thought it was another one of those things, right? And so I was somewhat apprehensive. Fortunately, yet unfortunately, it took me getting laid off.
Sometimes these things happen.
Right.
Sometimes you have to be in a position to, and we are the entrepreneurs are the people who, when they're in a position, they're going to make a shift. It's called a shift.
Yes.
Right? And you have to understand what the shift is.
Yeah.
And if you know where to shift, you just take off. Right? And so you took off.
And that's exactly what we did. What he said this time around that made that shift was the fact that he explained to me that this is not another one of those deals. That this is an educational platform where you can now learn the skill of trading. And I think when people hear trading, when they hear the stock market, when they hear investing, I think immediately risk and loss comes to mind. But when I thought education, I'm like, well, I always heard Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, he would always say, education takes the risk or minimizes the risk, because when you know what you're doing, it's not as risky. It's not as much of a gamble.
Yeah, of course.
So I said, what the heck?
Get the education. Right?
What do I have to lose, right? So I went ahead and got started learning the skill. Was really thrilled by the mentorship, by the platform, how detailed it is. And the beautiful thing was I was making money.
Good. Well, hey, it's always good, right?
Yeah. My first trade, my first trade, the first trade I put in by myself, I think it was like 29 cents. And Leroy was the best 29 cents I ever made. It
29 cents.
29 cents. But you have to understand, when you go onto this platform, it's literally like you making your own digital money.
Okay.
You understand? When you understand when you begin to understand what you're doing.
Well, it's back to education.
Correct.
Right? That's what it is. Yeah, back to education.
Yeah.
It makes it less risky.
Correct. So I knew what I kind of knew what I was doing. So,
Okay.
but when it worked,
Mm-hmm.
there was no going back.
It bit you.
Man, big time. I'm like, wait, I just made money. Because even prior to that, like, in the group chats and even within the educational platform, you could trade with the traders in live forums, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So if they win the trade, of course you win, but they're professionals. These guys are 6, 7, 8-figure income earners. So they're
Yeah.
believe you me, if they win big.
They win big, yeah.
And if you have an idea of what you're doing, you win as well. But when you're like nobody around and you do it for yourself, it's a game changer.
Okay.
It takes away. I think when people really start to understand this and learn this, remember growing up when your parents would tell you money doesn't grow on trees.
Mm-hmm.
Children now have the capacity to tell them it doesn't grow on trees; it grows on my phone.
I like that.
You know,
I like that. I do like that.
Because now you have the ability to teach your children financial education and empower them through this platform to be able to literally earn their own money. There are people that I know that are teaching their teenagers how to do this, and they're making their own money.
Okay.
Like, forget an allowance. My kid makes their own money. I don't have to give.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful thing.
Well, so tell us a little about. This is interesting because, like I said, this is all financial education.
Yeah.
Dive a little deeper into what's this big thing, and I know we won't have all the time.
Yeah.
Let's start with cryptocurrency. Tell me what that is.
Ooh.
I mean,
I'm gonna do my best.
Okay, because
But we can start there.
let's start there because you see that, and I do a little bit of trading, so you know, and I see it all the time. I don't trade crypto, but I watch it all the time. So tell me what that is.
So before we talk about crypto in and of itself, let's look at the history of money. And I think that will help me tie in what cryptocurrency is. And the reason why I say that is because I think to date, there's still a lot of people who are skeptical about cryptocurrency.
And that's true.
So if we look at centuries ago, right, how did human beings interact through commerce? There was the barter and trade system.
Yeah, that's where it started.
And then China eventually created paper money, right? Then we saw during time, if you look through history, you see the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire. They had gold coins, silver coins, nickel coins. So then we started to have money as we know it. Then eventually, and forgive me, there's a whole history on it. We got the gold standard. It comes off the gold standard. But then even down to the creation of even credit cards, right? Like credit cards is a form of currency.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we have to pay it back, but it's still used as a form of currency. So we've watched money evolve throughout the history of mankind. And what I truly see cryptocurrency or digital currency as is another evolution of that.
But
right?
now the other thing, which I don't know, because like I said, this is an education to me. I was looking at on financial news, but can you track it? It seems like from what I understand, you can't. From what they're saying, I mean, you can clear this up. Whether it can be tracked.
It can't be tracked as in how money is tracked today.
Okay.
However, from user to receiver, we can see the transaction through a system called the blockchain. I am no blockchain expert, so we will have to find one to come back to do that show.
Yeah. You have to come back and do that.
But through the blockchain, it's basically a ledger that digitally documents the transfer of of whatever particular currency. So let's say Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin. So if I send you 0.0001245 of Bitcoin, whatever that value is, right? Because today, if I say, I'm not saying you want Bitcoin, because one Bitcoin today is roughly what? 37,000, right? So
yeah.
Unless I'm buying property from you, I'm not giving you Bitcoin. But it's in that ledger, whatever percentage or how much Bitcoin I give you, if Trevor's sending it to Leroy, that's documented in the blockchain, but you and I can see that transaction, but no outside party. They can see there's a transaction.
Okay.
That was done, but you can't tell who did it
So
from
let me ask you a
one
question.
into the next.
If I tie this into real estate, are you aware of, or I don't know, I'm just asking the question, are some of the big guys buying real estate through Bitcoin? Have you heard of any, at least some of the larger real estate, the 10 million, are they doing that?
So I can only speak to one podcast that I overheard, and it's actually one of the educators that's affiliated with the platform that I'm on, Iam Academy, and it was on a YouTube video where one of the educators said he bought his property using Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think as we move into this particular arena, we'll eventually have to just. So do you think this will be one of the predominant currency?
I see it coming. Well, Bitcoin's becoming a more prevalent form of payment. It's becoming more normalized.
Well, I think I heard of one guy in the NFL wanted to be paid in Bitcoin.
I can't remember his name, but yes, he he is getting his entire salary in Bitcoin. I can't remember his name. I have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah. And I understand that I want to say PayPal.
Now you could actually, so when you're at the checkout for PayPal, you could actually, and I've seen it on when I've done transactions, you could actually conduct that transaction using Bitcoin. MasterCard announced a couple months ago that before the end of this year, they plan on having their system set up to where they'll be able to engage with their merchants using Bitcoin.
Okay, so
it's not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No, so tell me a little about how your business is doing, how it ties into your business.
Absolutely. So with my business, what Level Up Consulting LLC does today.
And just before you say this, just let folks know that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Mill podcast, the Mill Social Talk. So continue, and we're with Trevor John-Charles.
Yes, sir.
You got this. It's all this expensive name, right? It's a very expensive. I got to make sure I said it right? All right. So continue. I want to let folks know that what we're talking about. We're talking about financial education.
Yes, sir.
And how it ties into real estate also.
Yeah, absolutely. So what Level Up Consulting LLC does now is we set people up to get an education through iMarket Academy.
Okay.
And what iMarket Academy is the foremost leader in teaching individuals like you and I how to trade in the cryptocurrency, in the foreign exchange, and what's also called binary options. Not to be confused with the stock market, which does binary options, but binary options within the Forex market. Just to expound upon that, because I think a lot of people hear Forex and they're not too sure of what it is.
Well, most people don't, I think.
Yeah. So if, the best explanation I give is if a person jumps from the airplane, right? So you leave Chicago and you go to Belize, right? When you get to Belize, in order for you to participate in the economy there, and I know some places are completely okay with having U.S. dollars, but most times you find yourself, you have to exchange your currency for the currency of the country that you're visiting.
Okay.
That, in the simplest of terms, is you're participating in the foreign exchange market. Okay. What a lot of people also don't know is not only is the foreign exchange market a $6.6 trillion a day market, $6.6 trillion a day versus the New York Stock Exchange, which is only $22 billion a day.
Okay.
So there's a lot of money moved in this market. But I think a lot of people also don't know the fact that our banking institutions, they participate in the foreign exchange market.
I'm sure they do. I mean, it's like I am a novice when it comes to that particular area of the foreign exchange market. I mean, I've heard about it. I know if you travel, you need to change.
Correct.
Your money. I mean, from U.S. dollars to whatever you're doing, but how that affects the average Jane or John, when they're, if I'm sitting here, and a little bit deeper, how do I make money?
So I'm tying that in. So I'm gonna tie that in for you.
Exactly.
I'm giving a little background.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? The banks trade our money in the foreign exchange market.
I believe, yeah.
To the tune of billions of dollars. Like, go look it up.
Yeah.
Look up how much Chase, Bank of America, and some of these big name banks are making in the foreign exchange off of our money.
Okay.
But how much do they give us back?
0.01%.
Bingo! Absolutely, right? So if there was a way that you could learn a skill set, the same skill set
that the
banks are using, and multiply your own doggone money, what do you have to lose?
There you go.
It's not a gamble. You learn a skill set. No different than you had to become educated in selling real estate.
Absolutely.
You're licensed.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not licensed to do what I have to do, so my disclaimer is I am not a financial advisor. I am not a financial advisor. I am not here to give financial advice or tips, but I am here to just provide knowledge and information, right?
Right.
And I think that's the key component that's missing. The other side to that, is a lot of times people are also getting, I don't want to say scammed, but they're getting approached by individuals via social media saying, let me multiply your money, let me duplicate it in the Forex market. And unfortunately, there have been some people who've given random unknown people their money.
Okay.
So when I approach people about how about learning this skill, the flag goes up because what they've heard or think they've seen. And I was like,
this is a huge conversation. So let's get how do we connect with you?
So there's a couple ways you can get, a few ways you can get in contact with me. First and foremost, I would definitely say go to my website. And my website is www.levelupgroup.com.
Okay, so Level Up, because we can't get to everything. So we have to bring back Trevor and say, listen, let's continue where we left off. Because this is going to be like so we'll bring you back for sure. And I want you to kind of move off from there and say how you can continue to help people grow and to make money, right? Because this is just too big of a topic.
Yeah.
So
we went to that real quick.
All right. So again, this is Leroy via Mill Social Talk, and listen, you can go to our website at millsreal.com to connect with us. If you want to know something, if you want Trevor back, please email us back. Let us know. We want more information with Trevor John-Charles. Please let us know when he's coming back. We will let everybody know when he's coming back. So let's go ahead and we'll talk to you guys soon. Again, this is the Middle Social Talk, and along with Trevor John-Charles from Level Up Consulting. Thanks, guys. Again, 773-764-9547. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Mill Social Talks podcast. Remember to follow this podcast on whatever platform you desire. Episodes are released weekly, and if you enjoyed participating, please follow us at The Mill Social at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. For all real estate inquiries, visit millsreal.com. Find your forever home with Mills Realty.